brow upon my bones, and waketh me from slumber sweet. Thou hast forgotten the face of thy Lord. Remember, mortal, and fear me.
In the most recent patch of 14, we lose yet another ally to evil, in this case, the fight against the Solus Machina Omega. Though death wasn't the outcome of said ally, we may never be able to actually meet with this friend ever again. Our lost ally this time was Midgardsormr. Spoiler alert. Though not dead, I do want to go back and talk about when and how this legendary creature showed up on Hydaelyn. This will take us back quite a few historical points in the past. In fact, you could say it was the first.
By her gifts hast thou earned a moment's reprieve.
Hydaelyn, a star, planet, in the darkness of space that drifted along like any other planetoid. However, she was a young star and was very new to existence, and comes Midgardsormr with an unborn brood upon his back. History tells us that before Midgardsormr, there were gods that walked the surface of Hydaelyn's brow. The gods weren't much of all-powerful beings rather than living people who existed and protected the star they called home. Midgardsormr kind of disturbed this way of living for them. As the world serpent spent much time in the void of space finding a new home for his brood, Midgardsormr made a sort of deal with Hydaelyn and the resident gods. He would relinquish his godlike powers to protect and guard the source of all water in the world, said to be in the now Mordona outskirts, Silvertear Falls.
The Observatorium's astrologians have sounded the alarm. Last night, the Dragon Star burned with an intensity not seen in 15 summers, not since the Dravanians engaged the Empire in the Battle of Silvertear Skies.
The northern sky doth burn full bright upon the Wormlord's call. The red behemoth beckoneth, and flame consumeth all.
The old Curthan rhyme, aye. The brightening of the Dragon Star is said to accompany the roar of a great worm. The astrologians believe that it was Midgardsormr himself who cried out on this occasion.
My people have heard the song. Ishgard shall burn. Sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. We do not forget. We do not forgive. 7 children did I sire. One now singeth of retribution. I rise to join in the chorus.
This deal allowed for safe passage of his brood and a powerful being to guard an important spot on Hydaelyn. Now that Midgardsormr had established a home for his family, all he needed to do was fulfill his obligation in his, however, weakened state. Though weak he may have been, he was still very powerful, stopped an entire fleet of Garleans from overwhelming Eorzea by attacking and bringing down the mother flagship, although this action forever changed the area of Silvertear Fall. His history in the long run has been quiet, only showing up for the sake of his brood and being pretty much the source of all dragon kind. If you think about the matriarch system for dragon, you can see him as the progenitor for every single dragon known, seen, and existing. The dragons we know as great Wyrms are more or less this guy's children. From the ones we know already, Tiamat, Nidhogg, Herjvolnir, Ratatoskr, and Bahamut are the ones we know well and at least interacted with throughout 14. Well, 3 of them at least, one being a primal and not the actual Bahamut, and the other long dead, though Midi here did have 7 eggs on his back. so we still need to find the other great worms. And may I say, I know letting your kin to go off and do whatever is in a dragon's nature, but letting your brood to not only start wars with humans for 1,000 years, but also see them get enslaved by Alligans, is that not enough to warrant to help them? No? Alright, okay. Midgardsormr, however, didn't just show up here in 14, but also other games in the series as well. You know how Final Fantasy likes its Norse mythology! Midgardsormr has been around since Final Fantasy VI as a summon you find in a cave. Now, there is no comparison to any Midgardsormr from one world to another, trust me, I've tried to look for one, but in this case, he was more or less a summon first, then became a constant enemy within the series. He's been relegated to giant snakes until 14, but in a realistic mythical view, that is correct. Midgardsormr was always a snake in the myth of the Norse. More well known as the world serpent, Midgardsormr was so huge he could wrap around the earth. In 14, Midi wasn't all that huge, but was still the Worm King for his power. The sheer power to take your light away and make becoming a ghost seem like a normal thing, this guy was kinda godlike. You have to remember that this Midi is way underpowered from this Midi, and this Midi is way underpowered than when he came to Silver Tear Falls. Midgardsormr was as powerful as he was mysterious. In the plot, he took the power of the Warrior of Light away to help strengthen their will and resolve to protect Hydaelyn from huge threats. Meaning he was able to take the power of the gods away from you. The one true god. He took that away. Think about that. The entire time you were in Heavensward helping the Ishgardians, Midi was watching you and pretty much judging if you were worthy of Hydaelyn's grace. Less it to say, yes you were. And you indeed have proven yourself before him and Hydaelyn both for your importance to the world. Regaining the gift of the crystals and being able to take down a total of 12 primal-like beings with 7 other adventurers was a show of power you held thanks to both Hydaelyn and Midgardsormr.
Thou hast broken down the wall I built around thee, and partaken of thy mistress's blessing once more. Strong art thou, mortal, stronger than any other of thy kind. Having looked upon thy deeds, I am convinced thou art worthy to bear her light. The covenant bound me to thee, but 'twould seem our fates were mingled from the first.
But this only showed a fraction of Midi's actual purpose. Not only was he the guardian of Silver Tear Falls, but also the guardian of the star itself. Remember, Midgardsormr gave up his vast amount of power to have his race housed on Hydaelyn's surface, and as far as gods go, Midi is the only proof that they even existed. Hints are shown here and there for proof of godly presence, but Midgardsormr is a godly presence. His theme is more than enough to prove that. As Midgardsormr guards his precious home from invaders who would seek to damage Hydaelyn too far, join his kin by siding with the Warrior of Light to find another way to end the war, even going as far as to let you kill Nidhogg, one of his own brood, to lend you his wings so to be able to reach the end of the Dragonsong War, and even lending his vast knowledge in taking on Omega, even though Omega was pretty out of scope for him. This showed me how dedicated Midgardsormr was, and it showed me that this guy is still a mystery. He came from the stars, he had eggs with him, they were his first brood, and then he ended up guarding the star and the Silver Tear Falls. He sided with the Warrior of Light and went against anything that would devastate the land. Now, since I made that Omega video, this thing has grown way too huge to be a normal entity anymore. No race in the world understood Omega, not even the Alligans who found him. Midgardsormr was even the former target for Omega, seeing how it still wanted to find a powerful creature to fight. Look up my Omega and Shinryu videos to understand why that is. And Midi even had a spat with the machine. The end of it all was when you were about to be put in possibly the worst state conceivable in the game, unplayable, until Midi came in, freed you, and stated he would be with you in spirit. A sad moment, seeing how he's been bound to you since before Heavensward, only to be forced into a hibernate-like state. He parts with you, just like that. No more God Dragon. And just like that, the father of all dragons is put to rest once again. He fathered the great Wyrms, which he sired since before recorded history, and being vast in knowledge.
Eggs did my children hatch, and once they were full grown, they took wing and spread across all the lands of Hydaelyn.
The gods revered him for his power and knowledge alone, a being whose presence was felt by everyone when the song was heard, and let's just admit it, he really had a cool voice in 2.0.
Thou art powerless to silence us, mortal. Yet thou shalt not live to labor in vain. Thy reprieve is at an end.
And as we close this lore, I want to look back and say Midgardsormr was a pretty cool dude. But will we ever meet Midgardsormr again? Will he ever wake up? Or will we meet his other two broods that we haven't met yet first? Time will tell. There's more lore in the world to be discovered, and I'm on the job. If you guys wish for me to talk about anything in the Final Fantasy universe, let me know in the comments below. Or you can join my Discord and go into #AskSync and give me some ideas on what lore to take on next. Now, the next thing I'm going to do after this is probably another guide, but what to do? What to do? Oh shit, I forgot the ninja.
When it hath grown whole, the loyal and penitent shall rejoice. The dragon song heraldeth our beginning.